Now I want to go in and show you where your sounds are, what the sounds are, and how to use those sounds. Okay, I'm not going to make a beat right now. What I will do is I'm going to go through and select certain things so you can see how they're used and explain to you what they are and why you would use them. Okay, so I'm going to click on this plus sign. Oops, hit space bar. So I'm going to click on this here. Boom. Here I have my instruments. These are instruments that I either paid for or that comes with the program. Okay. I'm going to start off with the drums. And truthfully, I like to start off with melodies first, but I'm not making the beat now, but I'm going to start off explaining to you which drums are available to you and how to use them first. So here's my drums. You see here it says 808. It doesn't say BD, SD. BD would be bass drum. Kick would also be a form of bass drum. A kick drum on a drum set. A snare drum, SD or SN, they abbreviate it sometimes. It says 808. I know that means it's a kit. So when I select that, it's going to give me a kit already built with about 6 to 10 sounds in it. A kick drum, a snare drum, a hi-hat, percussion, etc. So let's take a quick look at that. Obviously, 808 is a very popular tool in the hip hop and trap musical genre. A lot of other people are using it in their musical genre as well, but it really became a big thing around hip hop. So you'll get those boom, you'll get those low 808s and stuff. 808, you'll get that low kick drum boom if you use the 808. Okay, 909, it's a little similar, but not as popular. And then we'll go through some of the others too. Okay, so let's take a look at this one. So I clicked on the 808 and it gave me some sounds. It gave me a drum kit actually, but I want you to look over here. See this X right here? That's how I can close that out, just to help you understand. This is drums. If I double click on the little strip they gave me, left click 2 times, it opens me back up into the drum kit itself, where I'm going to actually place and put out a beat. So let me do that. I'm going to show you something really quickly. I was trying to explain this to you a little while ago, but I think it'd be better if you could actually see what I meant. So I'm on my kick, and I'm going to put a kick here. You heard that? Put your headphones in if you haven't heard that. I want you to hear that's a serious drum right there. All right. Then I'm going to go to my snare, and I'm going to put it here because remember, I have a 80 BPM song, so it's already going to be slow. Okay. There are ways to make it sound slower, and we'll go into that at a later part of this program. All right, cool. So here, what I really like to do first, to be quite honest with you, is I like to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I can trigger something to do that for me, put on my metronome, but for me, this is my metronome. So notice how I put 1 at the beginning of every colored section at first. That's how I'm going to keep my beats. That's how I'm going to maintain my tempo. So listen. Okay. Okay. That's how I know where I want it to go. Sometimes I do the kick first, sometimes I do my snare first. Now, because my beat is slow, I can get away with this pattern. I could even get away with putting 1 here. If it was 140 and I put it there, it would sound really rushed. Okay, there are ways to do it, but just for an example. Okay, now I would go and build my drum kit. I would lower this down, cymbal. Can't put it there. I could put it there, but it's going to be over another sound, and that could kind of get a little messy later because they kind of have the same tone. So I'm going to spread them out a little bit just to show you. All right, good. So you see, this is a drum kit. I can hit drum kit. It gives me a whole thing, and I could just start placing beats out there and doing my thing. Okay, but I'm going to close this, and I'm going to come over here to the drum kit. I'm going to right click it, and I'm going to delete it. I'm going to close that out because right now I'm just showing you how to use this part of the program. Okay, so now go to plus sign again. I would click on drums. I would go to another kit. Let's see what they give us with WD acoustic one. They give us a whole nother kit. Let's hear what it sounds like. Let me get my hats laid out. I'm gonna do something different this time. All right, so you get the idea, okay? It gave me a different kit, has a different sound, it's a different style of music usually, but you could actually mix and match. I can use this kit, which is not typically a hip hop kit, it sounds like to me. I can use it for a hip hop kit, right? So this one to give you an idea. Let's close that out. All right, so I'm gonna save this and actually just turn it off. Okay, so you can't hear it. By the way, this is the turn on and turn off button. This is also the solo buttons. When I have multiple tracks, if I want to hit this button, I can play just that track. Make sure this is on though. I can hit just this track and it will play only that track no matter how many tracks I have. Once I take off solo, it'll play all the tracks in my list. And again, this right here will turn off the track. So I don't hear it right now because I want to add something else and show you another part of how to add an instrument. Okay, so now let me show you how to use individual sounds to make a beat. That way we used a pre-made kit, right? It had the sounds in there for us already. I can go to instruments and I can click on here drum kits. And also, if I was to click on this kit, for example, and this is a little bit different of a kick. If I was to click on this kick, it would give me a set of drum sounds also, but in a little different manner than it did last time. The last time I put my drums on a drum sequencer. This time it puts my drums on a piano roll. This is your piano roll where you're going to lay out a lot of your melodies and bass lines. But if you see here, I just chose a drum kit and it put it on a piano for me. So that means that all of these different notes have different sounds from that drum kit. Let's listen. So my drums are here. There's a few of them, okay? So it's cool because I can now go left click and populate that. Left click and populate that. Left click and populate that, and left click and populate that. So let's see from the beginning what that sounds like. Okay, they kind of all sound alike. But then what's cool is I can kind of pitch and tweak each one separately and kind of give it a different sound. Anyway, right? And then we'll go here, find one of these. We like this. Okay, let's say we like this. Okay, so that's also a drum kit, but it's on your piano roll. And remember I told you earlier in the beginning section to turn on your keyboard notes or your piano notes? That's D. So now we know that this is E. We know that this is B. Now for the drums right now, that's not gonna make a big difference unless you're using like 808s because you want to tweak those to the key of the song, right? Sometimes kick drums a little bit more straightforward. You can tweak them as well, but you really want to know what these notes are when you're using your piano or your bass line or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to go out here. I'm going to delete this one because I don't really need this one. Delete. Boom. Very cool. Now I'm going to go back and show you the last way that I would do this for my drums. There's 3 ways I recommend doing it for your drums. Actually 4, and we'll do that last one next. Okay, so now, again, I'm going to start all over and show you how to do it with single shots, how to make a drum pattern. Okay, this time I'm going to go to audio clip. I'm going to hit my hats first. That's what I like to do first. I'm going to click on any old hat for now because I'm just demonstrating, even though I do like that hat sound. I'm going to go here. I'm going to copy that. Remember I told you, put it on every black line to start. So if you do this and you see clip, if you have a loop sample, it's going to put, or you copied something, right, it's going to drop it there for you. But what you need to do to copy paste is you're going to left click and hold down for 2 seconds, let go, and then you get the paste option. And notice how I held it down in the square that I wanted it to paste to. I can either left click, highlight all, copy, and then go here and paste, or I could spend my time doing it manually. Let's check it out. Okay, I already know that's too loud for me. All right, stop it, go to the next one. I'm gonna now put my snare drum because they're usually pretty standard. They usually land on 2 and 4. So let's check that out. I'm gonna go back to audio clip. I'm gonna go through hats, kicks, snare. There you go. That's a snare. Again, according to what you're making, you could be making dance music, you could be making um, indie pop, you could be making grunge music, you could be making rock, country, and based on what you're making or you think you're gonna make, you'll choose your sounds that you think are best for that. I'm doing a little hip hop, so I'm gonna go ahead and use a clap. I like this clap for now, okay? So we have a clap. Now, I'm going to take my clap and I'm gonna move it back to 2, copy, and put it also on 4, because generally, not all the time, generally, the snare is on the 2 and 4, or the clap, which is in the replacement of the snare. It's on the 2 and 4. And then you can also put some on those other parts, these little extra squares that I told you about earlier, but there's a couple things you should know about doing that. Okay, you can just play around and put them anywhere, but we'll go over how and why you would do that later. All right, let's see what we have so far. Okay, now the third thing I'm going to do is go look for my kick drum and try to finish my basic pattern. So I'm going to go back to audio clip or slicer or whatever I decide. And I'm going to go to my kick here and I'm going to find the kick that I like. I'll take 7. Now look at my kick here. Okay, I'm going to listen first. Let's hear it. Okay, I like that. So I'm going to actually copy that. I'm going to put it here, but I'm going to shorten this one. I'm going to put another one here. Let's see what we got. Okay, and as you can see, I continue building my beat manually this way without the help of them giving me a drum kit. I get to select the sounds that I like, and eventually you'll be bringing sounds in from another source and you'll be putting them into your program and you'll be able to choose the sound that you like. A lot of people spend more time finding the right sound than they spend making the actual beat. The sounds are very important. But what's most important is that it sounds good to you and that you like the sound, not what you think your homeboy or your homegirl gonna like. This is about what you like. This is art. Please do not get this confused and mistaken. This is art. Yes, it's a business, but it starts with your art first. Okay, we'll talk about all the other stuff later. All right. So if I wanted to add something else, obviously I could by going to plus sign, audio clip, and let's say, um, tom drums again, cymbal. Let's try that. Okay. Roll out. Okay, I'll keep it. I'll lower it down though. And I can show you a really cool trick right now, but I'm gonna wait to show it to you in a second when we start making this beat, okay? But just for now, let's put it over. Let's take a look at this. And of course, you just keep going down, creating new sound. So if I wanted to continue down this path, creating my beat manually, I would do it this way. Also, you can go to, for example, instruments. You can hit keyboard, and it will give you a ton of different keyboard sounds, piano sounds. Um, I really think you should spend some time one day just going through and listening to what things sound like and see what you like. Make little notes about it, um, and start create your little own package. So every time you get to make a beat, you go, "Oh, I'm doing this. I'm going to go get these sounds. I already know where they are. You got to sit through and do this every time." A lot of people do that. They have their folders where they have all their preferred sounds set up. Okay. So anyway, here we go. That sounds low because it's low on the piano, but we're going to change that in a second. So I'm going to choose the grand piano. I'm going to close this. Remember, we had our musical notes already. So what I think we're hearing is something down here. Let me take a look at the piano. What are we hearing? Does it show us here what we're hearing? Sounds like we're hearing something like this, C2. I'm going to move this up to like C4, C5. Okay, now I'm going to take a look over here. Go down, scroll this down. Oops, right here. So here on the keyboard, going up and down makes it smaller and bigger. On the right of that, you pull this down and it moves the piano up and down so you can get higher or lower. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this. What if I wanted to do something like, show you what I like to do in a second on how I do this. Right? Okay, then again, I'd go back. I'd maybe go to audio clip. Well, no, audio clips don't really have good samples that I want right now. I mean, for this kind of thing. So I'm going to go to instruments, another instrument. Let's pick a synth. Okay. Now, for example, I started on a C. I'm going to stay with the C. You see these right here? These are our ghost notes. This is what we talked about a little while ago. These are our ghost notes. And we talked about this earlier when I had you turn on that switch at the very beginning and said, enable ghost notes. So now I can see which notes I played, so I can actually play my other notes around those notes or on those notes to make it go together, right? If I didn't have that there, I would have to kind of figure out, unless I understood music or I read music, and I would then know what to put. But this is very helpful if you don't. So I know I could use these keys. So I'm going to go, I have to put them in the same places. I just know that I can use them. So I'm going to do this. Um, this is the 2. Let's see what we got so far. We need one here. And I'm going to lower that down. Let me see. Right? And of course, I would keep going through doing that. So that's how you put a beat together. One more thing I'm going to show you about putting a beat together, and I'm going to end this video and take you to the next section